Hello everyone, this is In-Game Arts. This is a special little Let's Talk Gaming moment. This is just more of me about just nerding out, talking about just gamings and stuff like that. And just, I've been wanting to do this kind of video for a little while, but it's been changed and scrapped and altered to the point where I was going to make like a top 5 list or something like that. But then at the end of the day, I just realized I just wanted to talk about one console, and that is the PlayStation 4. Now, I've talked about this before, where PlayStation 1 is my all-time favorite console. I have a lot of nostalgia, a lot of memory, and there's a lot of classical games on there, and games that even to this day are talked about and beloved. And over time, though, I kind of realized that PlayStation 4 has taken that title for me. I think that PlayStation 4 is my all-time, if not the best console ever. Now, that's a personal taste, opinion on that, but I try my best not to let things like nostalgia blind and just be like, well, I grew up with this game and everything else that comes after it is failed comparison. I don't try to do that stuff. I try to look at it objectively and fairly. I'm still a retro gamer, and I still think like what's on PlayStation 1, 2, 3 is a phenomenal consoles and has phenomenal games on there. But just when I look about the entire library on PlayStation 4, it just blows me away. I don't really care that, well, some of these games are available on older platforms. Great. I'm more happier that it's on a newer current platform. That's even better. But I did want to emphasize that I do have high expectations with PlayStation 5. It still hasn't proven itself, and much like every new generation, it's got to get its momentum going, but it is still amazing that we're still getting PlayStation 4 games. There's still so many great titles coming out for PlayStation 4, and when PlayStation 5 finally gets its momentum and it starts getting released games on there, we'll start seeing these little hidden gems that you can find on PlayStation 4. I don't think a lot of people give a lot of credit what's available on PlayStation 4. A lot of people talk about like PlayStation 2 as the best console ever, which, don't get me wrong, PlayStation 2 is a really amazing console, but I don't think it's the best console ever. It does have many great games on there, but funny enough, the PlayStation 2 era for me personally is a very blurry. I don't know why. I don't have much memories of PlayStation 2, but if I had to pick my personal list, I would say PlayStation 5 would be 5th because it's yet to prove itself, but it does have some great expectations with it, a lot of potential with it. I'd say number 4 would go to PlayStation 3, number 3 would be PlayStation 2, and number 2 would be PS1, and then of course number 1 would be PlayStation 4. And why I want to emphasize about this video is more emphasized about physical collecting. Now, if you're only a person who cares about AAA stuff and just only cares about just the AAA scene and just like games being 3D and you're not a fan of retro style games, then yeah, I can see why you may think like PlayStation 4 is a big main letdown. But for me, as someone who loves both AAA, indie, as well as retro and new age games, it's just phenomenal what variety package there is on PlayStation 4. I mean, you get games like God of War, Spider-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, Evil Within, all the Resident Evils, but you also get some of these smaller games like come on, you can get like Blaster Master Trilogy set, which all got 3 of these indie games on there. You got Blasphemous, you got Undertale, you got Axiom Verge, you got the Escapist, you got Final Fantasy games, you got the Mega Man collection, you got all the Mass Effect games all on one disc with all the DLC. You got the Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War. You got fighting games. You got I do admit we do have a lack of arcade racers. That is a weaker point about PlayStation 4. Hopefully, maybe would that be fixed with PlayStation 5. And the fact that with PlayStation 5 you can play a mass majority of PS4 games, pretty much like 99% of them, on the PlayStation 4. Now, how well is it compatible, and if there are going to be some issues, that's why I'm really eager to test that, because I really want to know, because that's a personal test for myself, and it is becoming quite stressful and hard for me doing this whole hiatus on PlayStation 4 games, because I've really got so many games I haven't played yet on PlayStation 4 I really want to, but it's just, you got the Trials of Cold Steel on PlayStation 4, you got many of the Far Cry games. I know I'm kind of turning my back on you guys on the camera, but I want to emphasize what is available. You got Legend of Mana, Trials of Mana, you got Star Ocean, you got Dragon's Quest here, which would be kind of cool if you got a Dragon Quest 8, which is, I think it's 8, 8, yeah, 8, I couldn't quite remember. Dragon Quest 8, which is a PS2 game, would be great if we had like a remake, remaster, whatever of that on PlayStation 4, but that's why when I realized PlayStation 4 was my all-time most favorite console. Every time I look at PlayStation 4, I am at all what is available, both in retro scene, as new age scene, and all the kinds of variety of gameplay. I know PlayStation 2 is considered the best because of the vast majority of games on PlayStation 2, and there is, but we gotta be real. PlayStation 2 has many good games. Don't get me wrong, God of War, Final Fantasy X, you got like Dark Cloud or Dark Chronicles, you have Resident Evil 4 that came out on it, you have the Crash Bandicoot, you got Crash Bandicoot games, you got Sly Cooper, Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Dexter's. There's many great games, but those are the nitpicking, those are the cherry picking. If you start looking at the bottom of the barrels and stuff like that, and looking at the other stuff, yes, they're there, but a lot of them got not the best controls, mechanics, and stuff like that. Well, a lot of what's on PlayStation 4 is phenomenal. Like, that's the problem. Yeah, it may not have the numbers, but every title that comes out on PlayStation 4 is sublime. It's just quality after quality after quality. And it's mind-boggling what you can find and play on PlayStation 4. And that's when I just came to to the point of obsession. I've actually have just pretty much dedicated so much of my time just collecting PS4 games because I'm just obsessed right now with collecting PlayStation 4 games. And I've even sometimes in my mind debated just selling off PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 2. I would never sell off my PS1 games because PlayStation 1 is just near and dear to my heart. But like PS3 and PS2, though I do love them, I do play those games, I just want ports of those games onto newer hardware. I don't know why I have such a connection with PS1 games. I would love just PS1 games and PS4 games. And the Nintendo Switch, too, is my most favorite Nintendo console in a long time. Last one's like Super Nintendo. And I wanted to make this video because I've been holding off. I was like, I really want to actually play a PlayStation 5 before I start talking about, does PlayStation 5 have potential? I believe it does, since it's supposed to be easier to develop, the faster load times, backwards compatibility with PlayStation 4, and the controller seems pretty darn good, which I did get. I did go ahead and pick up a few controllers ahead of time. I got the controllers, I got some of the games down here. It's crazy, sorry, off camera, sorry. Got quite a few of the games. I'm already ready to play PlayStation 5, but don't have my PS5. I'm not rushing to get one, but it just has so much potential being PS4 and PS5. And I do say if PS5 really impresses me, I probably have like a storage shed of just PS5s, because there is a lot of talk this could be the last generation of physical copies, and I don't think so. I think we might see one more generation of physical copies from PlayStation. I do see Xbox, this would be their last generation of physical copies. I think Nintendo will be the last one to do physical copies, but since I think Xbox did a patent or release of an external disk drive, I do believe they're going to use that as the next generation. They're going to be like, hey, use this external disk drive and you can back up your games or proof of purchase. Then the next generation, you just won't be a disk drive at all. I can see PlayStation doing that eventually and Nintendo eventually. I can see Nintendo just phasing out. Nintendo would be the last one to stand on physical copies, but I can't, you cannot convince me that PlayStation 4 was a disappointment, and disappointing in terms of PS3, PS4, PS2, and 1. PS1 just got so many great titles, like all the Final Fantasy, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, it's got Command & Conquer games, and Tactics Ogre, and I'm going off through my list, I'm sorry, but it's just, every time I look at it, I'm just obsessed with it, and it's just one of those things I sat there and I really would be a dream to have a full collection library of PlayStation 4 games. I would just want a wall of blue. Just a wall of blue. And that's how much I've just loved it. And it's not just simply the console. It's not about being PlayStation. It's not just about the console. As long as PlayStation 5's got the backwards compatibility and it works, then I don't care. I just want to emphasize on the library, the physical collecting, the means. Because even though we talk about how games nowadays need updates and internet connections and stuff like that, the vast majority of PlayStation 4 games work just fine off the disc, as well as don't need an internet connection. So, unlike PS3, while PS3 had some very questionable releases. Lately, I just been playing MotorStorm Pacific Rift, and the game just keeps crashing on me. And I just had to put that down and pick up a different game, and it hasn't crashed once on me. So I mean, there's chance of just games that weren't programmed. Now, PS3 was a atrociously hard console to program, but that was just what I emphasize on. That while PlayStation 4 is easier to develop, and you have a lot of these hidden games, and then you get PS5, which is going to be easier to develop, it just needs that momentum, and then physical releases will start popping up on that. I could see the PS4 and PS5 library just being one of the most amazing game collections you could possibly have. And I'm kind of like preparing myself, trying to be all PS4 and PS5, and focus on Switch a little bit. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever sell my PS2 and PS3 games. That's just my mindset, like how obsessed I am with PlayStation 4 and how much I loved it. I mean, you got like the Doom collection, Doom 64, Doom Eternal, you got Diablo 3, you got the Blob. I mean, come on, you got the Blob up here. The Devil May Cry games. You got, I mean, surprisingly, I was disappointed we don't got Metal Gear Solid collection. We only got Metal Gear Solid 5, but I believe that's just Konami just being dumb. I think it's because it's Hideo Kojima, or Hideo Kojima. Everyone gets on me because I pronounce his name wrong. I'm sorry. But I think they just don't want to have his name pronounced everywhere. But there's so many great games. Knack. I personally love Knack. I don't understand why people hate Knack. I love Knack. You got Loco Roco. You're getting like the Mega Man collections. We're getting a new Battle Network coming out here soon. And then you got the Castlevania collection that's coming from Limited Run. You got like the Contra collection. There's so many great games you can play on PlayStation 4. That's why I just try my best not to let nostalgia blind me. Yes, there are many great games on PS3, like the Dead Space series, the Resistance series, Motorstorm. You got Puppeteer. You got Alice in Wonderland game. I forget what it's called. Alice in Wonderland, Wonder of Madness or something like that. I can't quite remember, but it's a very good game. You got the Overlord games. You got the Sly Cooper game collection on that, and Sonic All-Star Racing Transformed on PlayStation 3. There are many great games on those that I would love to be on PS4 or PS5, as well as PlayStation 2 and PS1. But just I have to dial back and look at if I was a kid and I saw what is available on PlayStation 4. It's on a whole nother bar level. And if that potential of PlayStation 5 reaching that same level, then I think that's going to be the highest point in gaming for physical collecting. I want to emphasize this, is that me as a physical collector, what is available for me in collecting. Because PlayStation 3, though it had many great games, physical collecting was a bit more difficult, as well as a lot less variety, like the retro standpoint. Indie games were still coming along. PlayStation 2, while it had so many good games, as I said, there's a lot of stinkers out there and a lot of shovelware. Like the Wii. The Wii has many great games on it, but if you dial back and look at all the shovelware that's on there, you start realizing that, yes, if you want to cherry pick all your games, yes, greatest console ever, but when you look at the vast library on PlayStation 4 and the quality of that on PlayStation 4, the controls are all done very well and just got a lot of in-depth story, music, and gameplay. It's just a whole nother level, personally, for me. It's just something I wanted to geek out a little bit more. It's a little bit of a different video for me. I've been holding off making this video, but I just wanted to see what you guys' thought. Do you agree with me? Do you think PlayStation 4 is now your most favorite console? Do you think it's still not good enough? Do you think that PlayStation 5 could not live up to what potential it could have? What is your list and stuff like that? This is just my personal taste. I do agree that, like, my taste in games like Metrovanias, retro style games, and so on is something that's still kind of a niche. While I know a vast majority of people just look at AAA, they want all the AAA studio stuff. That's all they care about, and I can maybe see that let down. But then again, you get Spider-Man, you got Last of Us, and then you got God of War and stuff like that, and the Doom games. So there's still those great games. So I don't know. It's just a little joyful talk moment with you guys and everything like that, and just want to geek out about it and everything like that. And I'm so hyped up for PlayStation 5. I don't expect it to be like, Rise, I get a PS5, it's going to be blow me away. It's going to have time to build. I want to go on a bit about when I knew this was going to be the greatest generation. One of my favorite is because of Alien Isolation. I bought this game on a whim. I talked about this before in my unboxing video, but I bought that game on a whim, and it blew me away. It's like my #1 most favorite survival horror game of all time. It's amazing. But when I bought that, I was like, the potential here of PlayStation 4 is just on a whole nother level. Then you start getting these smaller stuff and everything. It is disappointing that a lot of these smaller stuff are just strictly from limited runs, so it does disappoint me that future collectors out there will have a very hard time trying to get these games. But I can even exclude limited run, and I still would love PlayStation 4. So this was a little geek out video. Sorry if it was a little ranty and a little talky and stuff like that, but I just wanted to sit down and talk about that and hear what you guys think, and if you agree or disagree, that's fine. It's just my personal taste, and I probably will end up with a whole room of PlayStation 4 games. Not just because it's PlayStation. It's not I'm a PlayStation fanboy. I just what is available on that console. So thank you all for watching. Look forward for more unboxing videos and stuff like that, and sharing your thoughts and games you want me to cover and stuff like that. I will try to look into and doing that when I can, and maybe I'll do more little one-off videos like these just for fun and everything. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching this little nerd out, geek out moment from In-Game Arts. And so again, thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys in my next videos. Bye bye.